We need to have a conversation about TikTok. The American version of TikTok, ever since it got bought, has significantly changed. And if you're a founder, an entrepreneur, a knowledge worker that wants to make more money, get more customers, get more views, it is very important that you understand this. As someone who's gone viral multiple times, helped my clients go viral within the first 48 hours, generate over 50 leads for their online business. I've generated over 10 million views and $10,000 from a single video. I've gone viral multiple times on TikTok throughout the years. So I can tell you without a doubt, this yapping formula, and especially the state of TikTok, is very important to pay attention to. So when you look at what's happened to TikTok ever since it was acquired by the United States, is you started to drastically see the reduce in pay for creators. So TikTok is in a recession, for creators at least, meaning that the platform is bigger than ever. There's more advertisers than ever. They're very heavily pushing their TikTok ads program. They're pushing their TikTok certification program. And if you've been paying close attention to what's happened to TikTok, we are now looking at the end stage of TikTok. TikTok has now reached its maturity in terms of their action plan of how they initially envisioned this app to go. When they first transitioned TikTok from the ByteDance, weird app that it was, like Vine style, they had initial roadmaps of launching a shop, but I think it was a little too early. Same with Instagram Shop at the time. Instagram had the feature to shop, and we weren't in that state yet. But we've now reached the state where we're now seeing the convergence of organic content and paid content. So organic and paid media are becoming one and the same. So when you go on TikTok, sometimes you can't even tell the difference between what's an ad and what's not an ad. The reason why TikTok is starting to die is because of things like the TikTok shop. Because what you started to know, or at least what I started to notice, is that those things are actually pushing us towards social commerce. And this is the first time in human history where we've ever had an algorithm, a computerized, digitized version of purchasing behavior that can then create predictive models of your behavior and what is more likely what you're more likely to do in the future, which then they can sell to advertisers to then make more money. So they basically invented this slot machine for you to consume and drench yourself in all of this content and get lost in the sea of content, while these advertisers are basically printing money off of you. And we're starting to see how social media is simply a tool for consumerism. And the reason why people hate influencers is because influencers simply just push more products and tell you to consume. Very few influencers actually influence culture outside of consumerism. And that's why the influencers who do that will become the next big influencers. Influencers who are more authentic, influencers who are more relatable, even if their story is, for example, like a lady named Shelby Saps, who's making millions of dollars online and she's absolutely crushing it. I truly believe it's because her audience can 100% see themselves in her shoes when she first started. When you look at people like Alex Earl, when you look at some of the largest celebrities and creators, no one resonates with them anymore. People don't even like celebrities and large influencers anymore. We've now shifted and we're now in the antitrust era with AI, large institutions, large creators. People are starting to realize that these people don't give a shit, and there's a certain level of tone deafness, if that's a word, that comes across with a lot of these creators, influencers, because they're shoving a life down your face that is unattainable. And the next big creators who are going to print money are going to be the people that went in their parents' bedroom, that stayed in college and door knocked, and now all of a sudden they're a millionaire. Because that story is way more relatable than, you just posted a few TikToks and you look absolutely stunning and you fit a certain mold that is ideal in America and now you're famous, right? That's not repeatable, right? Alex Earl's success is not repeatable. Like Charlie D'Amelio's success is not repeatable oftentimes. And people can kind of see that and they almost feel alienated. And the economy has reached the point where people's productivity has increased, wages have stagnated, and the cost of living is increasing. And more people are starting to become aware of all of these forces that are outside of their control. And then other people and influencers and celebrities want to jump on live streams and flex to them and show their abundant lifestyle, and people just don't care. The average person is just trying to get their head above water because we're in a silent zombie depression and an area of stagflation that I truly believe is not only being hidden because of the economic numbers and fudgeting because they just don't want it to make it seem as bad, but just based on the trends of the economy and technology. The average person might even get to the point in 10-20 years, if AI does continue this route, where we might have to have some version of universal basic income. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, what the fuck does universal basic income have to do with everyone wanting to become a content creator and AI? Because if you look at the charts of productivity ever since the 20th century, it has been continuously going up while the wages have actually flatlined and the cost of living has gone up. Housing prices have gone up. So people are working more than ever. They're getting more productive. Companies are making more money off of people, but people aren't able to afford to live. And the thing that's an issue with this is it's all cyclical. People eventually are going to get so fed up with the cost of living crisis, with institutions and older people telling them to do all of these things or to watch this lifestyle when they're barely able to tread water. And that's the era that we're now in. We're in the antitrust era. We're in the era where people don't like celebrities. And it's a new trend to hate on celebrities, not because there's anything wrong with influencers and celebrities and these famous people. They're all human. But the economy has shifted to the point where the people who are really going to win are the people who are relatable and authentic, and they can envision themselves in that person's shoes and eventually get to that where that person went. Because the best performing marketing funnels that I've seen, especially in the info and coaching space, are the people who seem like they understand, their audience. Once you get too big for your audience, that's when your audience starts to turn their back on you. That's when you start to see creators fall off. And the best creators are the creators that stay true to their core audience, the creators that they don't switch up, they don't start flexing a fancy lifestyle. And I feel like it's very hard in today's day and age because we have been tricked and duped because of all of these social media expectations and this flexing contest, Instagram. And Kanye West was right when he said Instagram got your bit, because really most people's consciousness is warped by what they think other people are going to think of them, especially on their feed or their algorithm. They're not even thinking about, what is an employer? What are my customers going to think? They just want to know, hey, what are the girls going to think? What are these guys going to think? What are my friends from high school going to think? They're not even thinking about the actual, fundamentals of themselves. They're only thinking about how they're going to be perceived. And I believe social media and this influencer culture has led people to be more narcissistic than ever and over obsessed with the aesthetic of being cool, the aesthetic of being an influencer, the aesthetic of all of these things, rather than the actual substance and value that is required to facilitate a massive audience, for them to listen to you, for them to care about you. You also have to give to the audience as much as they are watching you, right? Because a lot of people forget that there's an equivalent exchange. You can't become a big creator without having to give value. But a lot of influencers now, and the reason why people hate influencers is because they just consume. They just get you to consume. They want you to consume them. But very few influencers are actually plugged in with their audience and want to give value to their audience, want their audience to make more money, want their audience to, find opportunities. It's very, very rare. And the creators who are ride or die for their audience, who go in and do in-person events, that do meet and greets, I truly believe those creators will transcend social media. And I believe we're entering the era of social media transcendence. Brands, creators, influencers that go beyond just posting on social media, that go beyond just streaming, but creating in-person events, memories and experiences will be the ones that are truly memorable. If you guys like this, like and subscribe for more.